Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Fallon Jordan. And today I am so excited and delighted to have Phillip Wilson here, who is founder of Relax Saunas. And so I know a lot of you who have listened to previous episodes or follow me on Instagram know that my infrared sauna is like my baby, and I have used it for really anything from actually physically detoxing things, but I'm excited to hear more, Philip, from you about just the energy frequency piece too, and how that ties in, because sometimes we have these devices and like we put them on our body and we're like, you do the work, but like we need to put the intention, right? We need to put that high frequency healing in there. And so I'm really excited to dive in with you. And I think another thing that's really cool about kind of reading through Philip's story, definitely highly recommend reading his full bio in the show notes, because you were born kind of like a math genius and then had a spiritual awakening, and here you are. So I would love to hear more just about your journey, because I just think it's just so cool, especially with my background in the brain, how you went from this type of gift, really, with numbers to doing what you know and do now, which obviously involves a lot of numbers, just in a different way. So thank you for being here with us and like just having this really unique experience. I'm really excited to hear more about your story.
Yeah, my story, I guess, is an interesting one.
Yeah.
As everyone's story can be. Uh, I basically was minding my own business, and I had an out-of-body experience in 1970 in February. And then after that, and then I did not know I had an out-of-body experience at the time. Being not into spirituality at all. I was just pretty naive, pretty straight, and didn't know much about the world. I wasn't very worldly. I lived in my own bubble. My goal was to be an absent-minded math professor, like Professor Fumble in comics. Not everyone knows who Professor Fumble is, but basically an absent-minded math professor. My wife was going to just take care of all my social needs and all that, and then when that didn't happen because she found she wasn't my wife, but she found another boyfriend, and that was the beginning of my life, and I'm grateful and grateful. So I had a realization after going through a couple of days of sort of like being like a zombie, sort of like shocked that it wasn't going to happen, and recognizing it and realizing that that's good. But at the same time, that didn't fix the numbness, which is sort of related to pain, I think you know.
Hmm.
And so I had an awakening where I had a realization that I needed to get involved in music, art, and dance because I was so left brain. I mean, I finished second, third, and the fourth in the state of Indiana on national mathematics exams in high school and college, and I was published about 4 or 5 times my senior year in a mathematical problem solving high school national magazine or newsletter. And I offered the solution 3 or 4 times. So I was good in math, and I was, aiming toward being a chairman of a math department someday. I received like 4 or 5 assistantships as well as a fellowship to Ohio State for graduate school. I went to Ohio State in graduate school, and then a year and a half later, I met some yogi, and he showed me these techniques, and my Kundalini sort of, not exploded, but my whole body was filled with light or energy, and my body chemistry instantly changed, and it had changed when I had the out of body experience too. I know, like after the fact, once you drink of this water, you never thirst again. And that's what happened to me in February of 1970, but I didn't know it. And it wasn't until I think about April of 71 when I was at the original Earth Day event in Washington, D.C. And my friend Barry had a book called The Taboo Against Knowing Who You Are by Alan Watts. And while reading that book, he said, that thing you're experiencing, that's what they call God. I said, you got to be shitting me, because I thought everyone who believed in God was crazy. So I never believed. I went from not believing or being indifferent not even caring, it's like, I was just living life, to having the experience. So if people ask me whether I believe, I say, no, I already know. I know that that's all that exists. There's only, everything exists in the present moment. And then wherever you put your attention, you can be. There is no time and space. It all collapses. And we live in that space. And if we can't handle living in that space, we sort of like fall into a slumber until the worlds are created again for us to have experiences, to realize that we are atoms in the body of the divine. And so, but it's a process. It's a process. So when I define my definition of loving the process of how all things happen in life is my definition of loving God. In other words,
Wow.
it's like I went from I've never been religious. I went from, just taking care of life, having a good heart, basically. I discovered the other day that everything I do, there's a program running in my beingness, that everything I do is with kindness. And there's a couple other programs running in my beingness. I forgot what they were, but I remembered one the other day. But when I had the awakening of that realization I looked back like 3 years later, and I saw that three beings took me out of my body, and they showed me the about 9 indoor handball court size, and there's divided into 3 sections. Women were doing art, women were doing poetry, women were doing dance. And so they were
Wow.
showing me that I needed to be involved in music, art, and dance because I was so left brain.
So
My
cool.
liberal arts courses were symbolic logic in the philosophy department and economics.
That is incredible. And I love what you said about the present moment. That was honestly one of the best explanations I've ever heard about how that's connected to our divinity. And I also just want to give a shout out to Alan Watts because I love, love, love his stuff. And I love that you love it too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I read a lot of Herman Hesse books back in the early 70s. It turned out I read a Herman Hesse book every 2 years for 16 years, like clock.
Wow.
But it wasn't planned that way. But one of my favorite books is Narcissus and Goldmund by Herman Hesse. And that's all about
Mm.
the interaction between thought, the relationship, and the harmony and the synchronicity between thoughts and feelings. And
So cool.
there's a Paul Twitchell quote that says, "Thinking without feeling brings about woe, and feeling without thinking brings grief." So it's a
Wow.
conundrum. You sort of have to be able to think and feel at the same time. It's like if you've got 2 kids, a boy and a girl, the thoughts and the feelings, if you can get them in harmony with each other, you're free.
That
This,
is incredible. I
yeah,
love that.
yeah.
And probably a month ago started doing synchronicity journaling instead of like quote unquote instead of gratitude journaling. And you nailed it. I'm like, why is this working? It's because of what you just said about the thoughts and the feelings. Like, because I'm writing down things that pop up and I'm, just literally writing it down. And I'm like, oh, I'm so grateful that I can write this down and like see what else happens. And it unlocks a lot. And I think for anyone out there who is still kind of struggling with like staying in the present, this is maybe something that you needed to hear because I literally, for example, earlier today, I had this amazing person reach out to me named Judy, totally came out of nowhere. We had this amazing conversation. So I wrote it in my synchronicity journaling because I've been meeting a lot of people with the first name that starts with a J. And I was like, I'm just going to add it to my little thing. Of course, I went on a networking event with 80 people. Guess who I connected with the most? Another Judy, because I put it in my journal and it's like the energy is just flowing. So I would love to hear when I know you said your body filled with light, body filled with energy. When did things start changing so much that you realized you needed to actually put together like a 3D product to help support people?
Okay. Well, I started selling herbal vitamins in 1973.
Wow.
And I did it part-time. And then when I did not get my master's degree and I did not get my teaching certificate in mathematics in 76, and there was no job for me. And because I didn't get my master's, the job I had lined up at one of those community colleges to teach math, I needed a master's to do that, and I didn't have it.
Mm-hmm.
And so as a result of that, I had no job. And so I was making about $200 a month part-time selling the herbal vitamins.
Wow.
So I jumped off. I needed about $400 a month back then
Right.
to live on. It's not the case now, but back then, my rent was $95 a month for my house. Before I bought the house I'm living in now, it was $16.95.
Wow.
But so it's like life is what it is. So I started selling full time those herbal vitamins from 1976 to 1980. In 1980, I opened up an office, and then a year later, the main floor of the big yellow brick house I was in, I had 4 offices and a meeting room of the second and third floors. Well, the bottom floor opened up, and so I rented the whole thing. And before I knew it, I had a health food store, and I had been selling to health food stores and health professionals massage tools and a few other,
Cool.
like the rebounders, the inversion machines. I was selling Stanley Burroughs' books on the Master Cleanser, the Lemonade Diet, and then I was selling massage tools and massage sandals. I was selling about 50 different massage tools. And then slowly I had the health food store, and then I had the distributing business, and all on a shoestring. No financing, no capital. I had no capital. And then I did this for until about 1997. We were selling to
Wow.
1,100 different health food stores and health professionals each month. I was selling green powders in 1984. No one was selling green powders before 1984.
Right. That's like blowing my mind because
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
was selling,
most people still don't even know that exists, but of course, like the health
yeah,
people are like, wow, it's been around since that. Like that's so crazy.
and I was selling essential oils in 1986, Chinese herbal
Oh my
combinations,
God.
medicinal mushrooms in 1980, and chlorine dioxide, which is the precursor of MMS, in 1988.
So cool.
Yeah,
So what
two
would you,
stores. I'm selling those 2 stores.
that's incredible. What do you think is one of the biggest things that you've learned that might be helpful for someone who's just starting their business, especially a business where you're selling products, because it's very different than like, what I do? What do you think is something that is really important for them to hear that maybe the gurus out there aren't telling them about
Well,
like
it's all about your imagination and your dreams. You,
Oh, I love that.
if the Paul Twitchell said, feeling impregnates thought with action. So if you have a thought, you either have to love it or let it dissipate by not giving, like if you don't water a plant, usually it's going to die. So
Right.
quit watering the thoughts. Or if it's a thought you love, then give it passion, give it love, give it attention. And then after you've given enough attention, then you have to let go of it. The secret that they forgot to point out in the secret is it doesn't work until you let go.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. So thank you for sharing that because I think a lot of people who tune in like are they know that, but there's still like that struggle. And that's where I feel like
People don't know how to let go.
exactly.
But like this one friend of mine, she didn't even understand what it meant. But
Mm,
basically, simply the willingness to not have
mm.
and be okay. And if you're willing to not have and be okay, then you're fine. See, that's what letting go is.
Yes, I love
And
that.
incidentally, you were talking about gratefulness a little bit earlier. And in the Conversations with God book by Neil Donald Walsh,
Yes, I
it
love him.
it says it says it you can't ever have what you want. And I can explain why that's true. Okay.
Yes.
Number one, I noticed in some of the psalms of the Jewish religion, it says, "Thou shalt not want."
Yeah.
Very, isn't that interesting? I had, it's like very subtle. Like
Yeah.
it's something you give. What do you call it? When you give lip service to,
Yeah.
but you never think about it. You never.
Yeah.
But see, if you want something, what you're doing is you're picturing yourself not having.
Mm.
So that's what you get.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
if if you all of a sudden assume you have it, and the repercussions of that, which is the gratefulness of having, like the puppy is in your arms licking your face. It's not on
Yes.
the cage across the street. Okay. So in other words, it's like it's the wish fulfilled. You you
Exactly.
you rejoice in the wish fulfilled, which means you be grateful for having that which you don't have before you have it. So you could either imagine yourself in the future having it and be grateful, or but again, see, the name of my book coming out this year is Pictures of the Mind. And
Ooh.
with a degree in mathematics, mathematicians are always looking at inner pictures. And
Yeah.
those are beings that actually, in a sense, are alive on the mental plane, the pictures you look at.
Yeah. I mean, that's like the age old thing, right? Like vision board, look at it and have it get into your brain so you can like actually have those pictures start co-creating more of like the reality, which I think is really, really cool.
And when you give it attention, the pictures come alive. You know,
Yes.
it's like, now the subtitle of the book is more of a hook. It's freeing yourself from beliefs that no longer serve you.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, thank you. And please keep us posted on when that comes out
Yeah.
because we definitely want to make sure we get that in the hands of as many people as possible because you have such a unique frequency and wisdom. And I definitely am excited. And I'm curious, um, do you ever actually like read or meditate when you're in your sauna?
When I first got the sauna, I used to always meditate in it. It will get you to your sweet spot in half the time.
Yay.
Relax sauna is probably one of the the closest you can get to basking in divine love. A step down version of it is being in the relaxed sauna because it activates your parasympathetic nervous system in a way that no other sauna can come close to doing because they don't have enough of the active ingredient, which is far infrared energy, pure, 100% pure far infrared energy. That's the secret, not mid. Mid only goes in a little bit to do the muscles, and the near only does a little bit to do it focuses on the skin, but the far infrared does the skin, the muscles, and goes to the core of the body. And so if you want to detoxify and cleanse and purify your body, a pure 100% far infrared sauna is your ticket. And the relaxed sauna spent 14 years figuring out how to do what they did using computer semiconductor chips, the only company that uses semiconductor chips to generate the pure far infrared ray. And other saunas can't do it because they don't have the technology. And Planck's law says you can't do it. But with computer technology, we were able to give you the pure active ingredient that vibrates your water molecules.
So cool. And just so you guys know, being visual people, I saw a graph on your website that showed exactly like the light and the frequency and some of that stuff that really resonated. And I really liked looking at it. So if you guys are not already following me on Instagram or Facebook, do that because I'm going to post that graph because it was really cool. I really loved that. I loved seeing the data, I guess, like just and like helping people understand like why infrared and like a lot of people I'm sure wondering like what's the difference between that versus just like a red therapy place. Like I know a lot of gyms are starting to get that and stuff. I think it's important to kind of like understand the science, and also just understanding like the whole point is to detox and to have more light in our light body and our physical body. So
If you want to detox, the red light, the near infrared, the mid infrared are all nice, but they don't have anything to do with the water molecules. They're not the correct frequency. If you want to vibrate your molecules, you need far infrared energy. Only far infrared energy will do that. And when you vibrate the water molecules, a couple things very interesting happen. It weakens the bonds between the hydrogen and the oxygen, according to Dr. Yamaguchi, who did a lot of research in Japan, and that will release from the body the toxic poisonous gases and the heavy metals. That
cool.
so vibrating your water molecules is crucial. Now, when you vibrate your water molecules, and your body, according to Dr. Gerald Pollack, is not 70, 80% water. He says it's 99% water. I think 70, 80% of your cells are water, but 99% of your body is water. And the far infrared energy, by the way, water, most people don't know, is a far infrared molecule.
Wow.
Water absorbs and vibrates and emits far infrared energy, and so does your human body. It vibrates and emits far infrared energy. And so they're basically, the numbers is 9.4 for the human body, 8 for water. So we give you the 7 to 14 frequency. So it's the same frequency. In astrology, you would call it conjunct. It has to be the same frequency or real close to it. The tuning fork vibrates and the other one will vibrate. Okay. So,
Yeah.
ultraviolet, near infrared, mid infrared don't do anything to the water. The far infrared from the sun gives the plant the power to move and to bend. The far infrared from the sun goes through the sand 2 inches and resonates with the water in turtle eggs and activates them to grow into turtles. The far infrared energy that you experience in the sun, you close your eyes, the hot sun, it goes to your core. And that searing feeling you feel, that incredible relief when you go into the hot sun, it
Mm-hmm.
goes to your clothes. It goes to your clothes.
Yeah, I'm like one of the biggest fans of the sun. I'm actually wearing my sun necklace
Yeah, wow,
today.
that's perfect. Right,
And as you
right.
can see, I'm working hard on my tan always
Yes.
because
Now,
light is so healing. And I love that you explained so much about the water molecule because our brain and body are literally mostly water. So if you're charging them with these high frequencies, like everything in your life is just going to feel so much better. And people really underestimate the power of sunshine and water and how much they can really create miracles. So I'm curious from how long you've been in business and like the different types of ailments that people seem to come to you for. If you want to just speak to that.
I've been in business. My health food store opened 45 years ago. I've been in business for like 53 years or 52
Wow.
years. And my health food store and health food distributing business opened 45 years ago. I have been selling the Relax Sauna for the last 23 years. Yeah.
That is incredible.
And I started selling herbal products for as a tonic, as an alternative to coffee.
Perfect.
As an alternative to stimulants, like
Yeah.
giving your body the nutrition it needs to be grounded and balanced. So when you get into the relaxed sauna and it activates the parasympathetic, you get into the now. Okay. Now
Yeah.
I have a great definition, a quasi definition of pain. You want to hear it?
Please.
It's it's the awareness of time.
Mm.
Have you
Wow.
ever hurried? Have you ever worried? Have you ever
Mm.
waited? Very, very subtly, but very painful activities.
Yeah.
So if
Wow.
when you get into the sauna, it activates the parasympathetic and gets you into the now. And because it has 100% of the active ingredient far infrared ray between 7 and 14 microns, it 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 gets the nervous caffeine mind to shut up, And therefore, like when you sleep, that's when true healing can take place. So when you get out of the way and allow the healing to take place, Dr. John Christopher, the herbalist from the 80s, said there is absolutely no incurable disease, but some people, because of their attitudes, they are incurable.
Totally. Oh my God. I agree with that wholeheartedly. And I definitely need to have that more accessible because I talk about that all the time. And I'm so grateful that you're co-creating miracles for people through that philosophy because we don't have to be suffering with these things. Like
So
there are
you
resources.
good.
Yay, I love it. So if someone has been toying with the idea of getting an infrared sauna and for whatever reason, like there's just like one little thing holding them back, whether it's the cost or the space that it takes up, like what's something that you would tell them that would help them realize that this is the best thing for them to do?
Well, there are three essential appliances and maybe a fourth that every home needs. Okay. There are people who have little kids who have grown up with relaxed saunas in their home. And it's like whenever you get where you're out of sorts, you're low on energy, or you've got anxiety, or you're a little upset, you get in the relaxed sauna with your clothes on for 5 to 7 minutes. And if you have pain, 50%, 100% of your pain will be gone every time. And so the relaxed sauna is the
Wow.
only sauna that you can use for this because it takes 30 seconds to preheat, not 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 minutes. So you can do a 5 to 7 minute therapy session in the relaxed sauna with your clothes on at a doctor's office, at the massage therapist place. If you're going to do lymph drainage or you're going to see a chiropractor, you do it for, or even a psychologist, you do it for 5 to 7 minutes because it opens up your heart. Okay.
So
And
cool.
it gets rid of anxiety, chills, asthma, all this in 5 to 7 minutes. Um, and that's quite magical because it gets you into the present moment, and being in the present moment is again where you want to be. And by the way, I have an antidote for drudgery. You want to hear
Ooh.
the antidote for drudgery?
I don't even know what drudgery means. Should I know this?
Well, it's when you go downstairs in the morning and all of a sudden you forgot something and now you have to go all the way upstairs to get it.
Oh my
So
gosh.
you grudgingly go upstairs, and your attitude is for funk.
Yeah.
That doesn't do anyone any good. So I say you have to go into exercise mode, and then you run up the steps and put it as 1 minute of your exercise for the day. But another, and I used to experience drudgery when I'm shopping with my mom when I was a kid.
Totally.
It's the last place you wanted to be. And so the secret is to have fun. So either go into exercise mode or you have fun. And it's like a light switch. It's a light switch. You turn off the drudgery and you turn on the have fun or exercise.
Perfect. I love
I,
that.
I have another light switch. Do you know the worst thing you can do to yourself?
Be
It's to
mean.
judge. It's to judge.
Yeah.
Judge anyone, judge yourself. When you judge yourself, we call it feeling guilty.
Yeah.
You know what happens when you feel guilty?
Oh boy.
You sentence yourself to do it again until you do it
Mm,
with joy. So if you're gonna
yeah.
at least have fun doing it.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And if
Yeah.
you guys are listening and not watching on YouTube, Philip does have one of his saunas in the background, so it might be helpful to take a little peek. And I love that it's in your office with all of your supplements and all of your goodies. And you have some really beautiful art in your room too. And I think that's part of the fun too, is like kind of figuring out, we like to talk about the energy of spaces and it's just like kind of fun. Like, ooh, where do I want to put it? Like, where do I want to use it? Like, do I need to move it at some point? How easy would you say it is to move? Like, if someone wanted to borrow it or something like that in your family?
It takes 2 minutes to tear down. It
Okay.
takes 3 minutes to set up. It fits in a travel bag. It also fits in a 28-inch suitcase. And so you can travel.
Perfect.
It fits in the back of you got the bag that it comes in. and the tent folds into being about maybe 22 inch by 20 inch. Um, and that'll fit in it'll fit in a suitcase, it'll fit in a carrying bag, and the chair and the carrying bag will fit in your trunk, or they'll both fit in a suitcase. You can take them on the airplane. I always use it in my hotel room, always. And
Amazing. So do you use it every day?
I miss a day or two every month. I've been
Okay.
using it for 3 years. I've been it over 8,000 times. You know,
Incredible.
yeah. Now there's a study that this one guy did, and he published it on reddit.com. It was a personal study. He bought an Amazon sauna. See, he did the research on the saunas and says, wow, they'll increase heart rate variability, which is really, really important.
Yeah.
And they'll do all this other stuff. And he saw a lot of, articles or research articles on far infrared saunas. So I said, wow, an Amazon sauna for $250. I'm buying that. And he studied it, and it raised body temperature only a half a degree in 25 minutes. And in terms of the heart rate variability, it had no effect at all. Very disappointedly, he noticed there was a $500 sauna, highly with great, reviews on Amazon. He ordered that and got the same exact results. So in a quandary, he decided that, well, I'll do the Relax sauna. It raised body temperature 3.2 degrees in 25 minutes. And then when he did all the research at the end, and he noticed that it increased heart rate variability so much that it was significantly more than what the research said it should do.
Wow.
He said, I'd like to recommend, paired with cold showers, that you do the portable Amazon saunas, but I can't because they don't work. But the Relax sauna more than did my expectations. And the Relax sauna, I'll say this, the Relax sauna is, how MasterCard, they say, is priceless. Well, the
Yeah.
Relax sauna, I say, is worth $20,000. And because we use in the tent, in the sauna behind me, right there, the lining of the black sauna is in silver, and the lining on the outside of the silver tent is silver. And there's a reason it's silver, because it acts as a mirror. Now, if
Cool.
we use semiconductor chips, and because we use the mirror, and so we only have to have two radiators in front by the feet, the Relax sauna, if we had to have chips all over the place, there'd be EMF all over the place, and it'd cost about $20,000.
Right.
But and it's frankly, you can get an $8,000 wooden sauna. It can't do what the Relax sauna does. It also takes too long to preheat. It doesn't have the exact frequency that your body needs. It got a lot of fluff. And most of your saunas are only 1,000 watts, and the Relax sauna is 14 watts, so it's more power. And I have been to 500 conferences in the last 22 years. I told one doctor that, what is this? He says, oh, it's loving light. He says, well, you're
Oh.
a doctor, can you explain it a little bit better? So I went on and gave the scientific explanation. And
I
then
love
he
that.
came back the next day and said, the best description you gave was calling it loving light.
Oh, I love when we're right. That is
By the way, the
incredible.
the the website is relaxsaunas with an S.com, relaxsaunas.com. I have another website with more latest information, relaxsaunas.com/superior.
Perfect. And those links will be below. And like, if you're here, you know by now, guys, like, don't buy stuff on Amazon. Like, it's not going to be the same product. It's not, you really don't know what you're getting. And that's everything from supplements to infrared to hyperbaric oxygen chambers, like all the things that we talk about here. Like, please make sure you're getting it from the right source so that you're actually getting what you paid for. So, just a little disclaimer there because it's very important. And in general, I like to not use Amazon as much as humanly possible for anything because I'd rather go through the avenue that has the cleanest energy. And that's going to be the website from the person who we are talking to.
Now, the Relax sauna is a very, very unique product. And it's different from any of the other saunas because it took 14 years to develop the technology, and it's
Mm.
made in Taiwan. Okay, it's made in Taiwan, and that's the 94% of the world semiconductor chips are made in Taiwan.
Oh,
So it's not made in China. It's made in Taiwan, which is known for high quality, like Japan and South Korea. They're all known for high quality, but China's got a soiled reputation for quality.
yes.
Uh, and all the other saunas, to my knowledge, almost all of them are made in China. And so, but the Relax sauna is not made in the States. It is made in Taiwan. But it's when I go to these conferences, I have probably 100 video testimonies, interviews of people saying, I've been in 6, 7 different saunas. None of them can do what this one does as well as it does, and certainly not as quickly as it does. And so it's really we have 6 or 7 cancer clinics that sell it to their patients when they leave after a 2-week,
Yeah.
visit. We have, 20 different testimonials on our YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube and put in Relax Sauna testimonials, you'll come to our website. You click on our website, and there's like about 1,000 videos, and about 900 of them are video testimonies. You got about 10 or 20 of my talks, 10 or 20 of my podcasts on there, and you have all sorts of other stuff. But certainly, if you want a good high quality sauna, the Relax Sauna is the best. I'm going to create a code so we know who's seen this show.
Yeah.
And your name is Fallon, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to create that code, and anyone who uses that code will get $100 off the Relax Sauna. When they go to checkout, you just put the code in. Okay, so
Yay.
they'll save $100.
Thank
So
you
that
so much. We are so grateful. And I am going to put a link below to the testimonials so that you guys can see it. And then it always helps to subscribe. So please do that too for both
so I was
Phillip,
I was
Relax Saunas, and I.
I was telling you earlier that I have the antidote for judging.
Yes, please share.
Okay? Because judging not lest you be judged. You know what happens when you judge something? Well, a friend of mine gave a talk called The Spiritual Ladder. And he said,
Ooh.
wherever you judge someone on the spiritual ladder, guess where you are?
I have no idea.
One step below them.
Ooh, I love
Because
that.
they're doing it
Yeah.
and they know it's not bad.
Yeah.
But because you're judging them, you think it's bad. And so you're picturing it as bad and giving it all this attention and power,
Yeah.
passion. And then you let go of it. So you're setting yourself up to experience it. So
Mm,
wherever you judge someone, they've already experienced it, but now because you've judged them, if you don't get it worked out real quickly, you're setting yourself to step into that which you've judged, so that you learn that it's not worth judging. It's not. It's just an experience that the person needs. Otherwise, everyone has divine guidance, and they're guided into the experience. And sometimes to get them all messed up so that they have an awakening. Who are you to say?
right.
I mean, you want to honor each person's experience, not just the mother and the father. No, you honor everyone and allow them to have the experience. I mean, it
Amazing.
can't be any other way. But when when we interfere, we just set ourselves up for a little bit more pain. And again, because we're not in
Mhm.
the present moment. So the
Exactly.
antidote to judging is observe.
Love that.
And here's an example. Have you ever watched the sunset?
Is
Have you
often
ever,
almost every night that I can. Yeah.
okay, now, I bet you never say, I think the orange should go where the purple is, do you?
Oh my gosh, no. And I love that you said that because I've been having a lot of people using sunsets and sunrises as analogies for things. And it's like blowing my mind
Yeah,
because, as discussed, I love the sun. Um, and it's always perfect, right? Like the sunrise and the
yeah,
sunset are
right.
always perfect, but they're all different.
Well, everything in this world is always perfect. It's all ordained by the divine. So if you judge something, you're forgetting that principle.
Mm.
And so there's a light switch where you switch on the judgment and you switch it off and you switch it to observe. And observe comes from the word serve.
Mm.
So when you're observing, you're serving the divine, because that's the only thing that we can serve.
I'm literally writing this down. This is like mind blowing.
You can watch the tape too, you can watch the rerun, but
Oh, I always re-listen, but that
but see, observe when you and I then one day I talked to someone about 3-4 months ago, and they couldn't understand the difference between an observation and a judgment.
wow.
And so it took me 2 months of pondering as I walked, down the street, drove my car, did whatever I did, took showers and all that. And finally I realized there's a dark lining in every judgment. You know what
Mm.
that is? It's a complaint.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I am like the no complaining police. I'm like, I literally can't
Yeah, right.
deal with it at
And
all.
again, whenever you're complaining, instead of, we want to enjoy what is instead of wishing something that wasn't, and complaining about something that wasn't. We always want to go back and enjoy what is.
Exactly.
And so when you're judging, you're complaining. That's the dark lining. You're complaining. When you're looking at the sunset, if you want the purple to be where the blue and the orange is, that's complaining. See? And so if you could go one day without judging, you would be enlightened.
Oh my gosh. I love that.
I was at the airport the other day and I saw myself experience 20 judgments in about a second. And I said, okay, I switched into observe mode. It was a lot more fun.
Totally.
Noticed all these things I hadn't noticed before.
Amazing. And observe is serving the divine. That's just like, I'm sure
Yeah,
that's
go
landing for
around judging
everybody.
every second.
Hmm.
It's not necessary.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Do you have a newsletter that you send out, like emails?
Did you say something to me?
Yeah, my internet's unstable. Do you
Yeah, I
have a
know.
newsletter or email that you send out?
If they go to the relaxsaunas.com website,
Okay.
they can sign up for the email. Okay.
Okay.
And I have two websites for my proposed book coming up. One is phillipawilson.com,
Okay.
and the other is picturesofthemind.com.
Perfect. Yeah, because
My
we're
email for people who want to contact me. My email is phil@relaxsaunas with an S.com. Phil@relaxsaunas.com if people want to
perfect.
email me.
Yeah, we need more of your
I love
wisdom.
you what?
We need more of your wisdom. Like just the way that you speak is so different and so eloquent. And I know everyone listening is going to be really excited and grateful to get some more.
I've been very blessed, like they talk about Hermes Trismegistus and the Egyptian whatever, and he was thrice blessed, and so I've been more than blessed a couple times. I've, in the pictures of the mind, the book, the movie, The Beautiful Mind. All he
Hmm.
wanted was one original thought. I've been blessed with about 1,000 original thoughts, and so it's like a mission of mine to get them out, because each thought that I've had has freed me. I mean, getting rid of aberrant thought patterns and breaking up thought patterns that you see, you're a slave to your thought patterns.
Yeah.
Like if you believe something and then you get all these conclusions from that belief. And sometimes when the conclusion turns out to be sort of like wacky, it's because you have to go back to the original belief. And once you dissolve the belief, then all because our mind works so logically.
Hmm.
And that's what my degree is in logic. Had A pluses in symbolic logic in
Yeah.
college. I set the curve as an undergraduate with all these graduate students. I mean, I was just, I guess I must have done math a lot in other lifetimes. I know
I guess so, huh?
a couple memories of sort of being there. And so, then after doing math for like, from high school, from age 10 to around 22, I thought it was all a waste. I said, what did I do? I wasted all that time. But then I was studying Plato and Socrates said there's a purification of the soul that happens when you do math. And so that helped subside my, what did I do? I wasted all this. Nothing's for naught. Nothing's for naught ever. It's an experience that you see, all life is. Okay, here's what life is. It's a daydream, and the daydream keeps on going until it manifests as an ecstatic moment.
Mm,
Okay,
I
and
love
then
that.
you fall asleep, and then you start having another daydream, and
Hmm.
it completes as an orgasmic moment, and then you fall asleep, and you have another, and that's all life is. And the Hindu cosmology talks about this. It's a day and the night of God. They usually last 4,320,000 years, but time doesn't exist anyway. So I guess that doesn't really matter. But in our lives, we create a daydream, and sometimes fear stops it. And so you have to coax the fear by being gentle with it, as you would a little dog or a little kid. And then and then when the fear is subsided, now the daydream can continue. And again, that's all life is. And I had this realization in 1971, and I laughed and laughed and laughed. I said, that's all life is. And 10 years later, I realized it was true.
So cool.
And there's a book, one of Paul Twitchell's books, he says it's described as rest points throughout eternity.
Mm.
So eternity is the daydream. And then when you complete it, when you complete a task, when you catch the fly ball that you're diving for, you know, when you finish your term paper, when whatever activity then there's a rest point. And then you just hang out, you either fall asleep, and then when you wake up, you go on to another project. And they say that the alpha and the omega, there's no beginning and there's no ending.
Mm.
That's true. That there is no beginning, and so if you're into trying to finish and finally get it together and understand what life's about, I mean, you can reach a plateau, you can go through the vortex, and you're no longer a high school senior, you're a college freshman, and you got to explore and observe and collect data, in life, and find out. And then eventually the caterpillar, it goes into the cocoon, and all of a sudden it emerges. And all life is a continual operation of this over and over and over again. And there's a TV serial called Quantum Leap. Do you remember it? Do you ever hear of it?
Heard of it just recently, and I literally have it in my notes that when I can access it, like I need to watch that because it literally keeps coming up for me.
I watched 50 of those 52 episodes, I think. I think I'm in number
Okay.
two. I think in 96 or 97, I would come home, and at midnight, I'd watch it every night.
Amazing.
And the final episode, I was depressed when afterwards. It's like it turned out there was no end. He was going to continue to leap over and over. And
Wow.
I said, this is awful. But no, this is wonderful, because there is no ending. And,
Mm,
and we're doing this. And once we accept the fact that there is no ending, and that no matter who you are, Jesus, Buddha, it doesn't matter. There's another experience that's going to make you wiser and more free. There's no limit. And so it's just when you realize that, you just accept the fact that there's always going to be another challenge. And to me, it's really fun when I'm awake and aware to handle challenges.
hmm.
It's like the baseball player. You send a nice lofty fly ball to the center fielder and he catches it. It's boring. But when he has to catch it when the ball is hit, run 150 feet, dive to make the catch. That's what life's all about. It, and
Absolutely.
and so this is what I've done. And so, like here I was going to be a professor of mathematics. I was going to be chairman of a math department, maybe. I was going to do research. My wife was going to take care of my social needs. Oh my God. And then the self-image is the most important image you have. Then I was bohemian. I was just someone who just whatever and whatever. I was a mad scientist, and then I became a yogi, and then I became a dot. I, I'm just in this body. I have no time and space. I'm just a unit of awareness. I'm a point. Okay. And I'm just visiting the planet. I'm having fun. I may have to stay here another 20 years, 30 years, I'm told. It's like
Totally.
I consider I laughingly call it a punishment because, it doesn't matter where I am. And when see, this is the feeling without thinking brings grief. Here's someone dies, and you no, they're just in a different arena. And if you learn to communicate with them, you can talk to them in the dream state. I mean,
Hmm.
they're real. It's like in the movie Ghosts, they still exist. You don't die. I mean, can you imagine yourself not existing? Go ahead and try.
No, it's crazy to think about. And I think that's one of the most exciting things to learn is that like there's always more to experience and it can be better than you've ever imagined. And I think that's
In Rumi's poetry, okay, I died as a mineral and became a plant. I died as a plant and rose to animal. Then I became a human. What makes me ever think I become less by dying until
yeah.
I become like angels blessed, ere me, let me not exist. You always become greater by dying, because
Mm.
dying is going to the vortex, and the birth is, oh my God, here I am in a whole new world, brighter than ever. It's like, you know, and thinking without feeling is it brings woe. Well, think of Hamlet. He's consternated thought, oh, woe is me. So what we want to do is we want to nip it in the bud, get in the present moment, get in the present moment, get in the present moment, and just observe. See, and I was in 1997. I was meditating. I've been trying for a couple of months to find a name for my new business. And then I woke up from a meditation, and the word transformation, which I wanted to have, was slowly going back into the heart of creation. Then
Mm.
and I was outside of my body when this happened, and then I was inside my body again, and my third eye was wide open, and I was looking at this beautiful paradisical lake, and there was like a big volcano in the middle of this lake that had coiled brown gray all the way up to the top. And which I later on learned that was called a serpent mound. But anyway, I'm looking at it,
Mm.
observing, just having fun grazing. And then all of a sudden, a lottery ball pops out of the volcano with the word momentum on it. And I hear the word momentum. And I
Cool.
said, shit, that's such a mundane word. That's the name of my new company. I was a little upset. And then they said, taking advantage of the moment. I said, I'll be a, I can't believe that momentum comes to the word moment. Never noticed that. And so, okay, I've accepted the fact momentum is the name of my new company, and I'm picturing my stationery, and then I said, there's something missing. And as soon as I said that, the voice came back and said, propelling yourself into greatness.
Ooh.
I said, wow. Then the third eye closed and I'm in my body. So I wrote all those three things down on a database on my computer. Couldn't find pen. And then it took me 10 days to find that database. I had no clue what those three phrases were. But what's exciting about them is that taking advantage of the moment means living in the moment and being vigilant, which means listening. And so
Amazing.
if you're in the jungle and you got to be vigilant about tigers and all that, I suppose. And so if you're living in the moment, totally embraced, like the bull, running for the red flag, they're living in the moment and then they're taking advantage of it, and because they're not listening. So, but if you're listening, then when a new wave comes, you can step in front of that new wave and it'll propel you into greatness. Isn't that amazing?
I love it. I always like the word propeller.
Yes. Well, I do too, because my name starts with a P, and anything that starts with a
Right.
P, with purification, Pythagoras, Plato, Pluto, but the in the moment, that's where all things lie in. And that phrase of momentum, taking advantage of the moment, propelling yourself into greatness, that's almost like a practical way of, there's a book called Brother Lawrence, Practicing the Presence of God, 80 pages, and this phrase tells you how to do it.
So cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, this was amazing. We are so grateful for all of your shares. And like I said, get in Philip's amazing, beautiful board with some of the links below and check out the Relax Saunas. I mean, it's really amazing stuff. Like it literally fills your body with light, 5 to 7 minutes, getting rid of pain. And I mean, who doesn't need an excuse to have 7 minutes to themselves, right? Especially like a busy mom. Like this is such a cool, to me, it's almost like when we were little and we had like those forts and tents and things like that. Like, I don't know, I just kind of think of that. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you everyone for listening. And we love you so
I have I
much.
haven't I haven't finished. I've got a few
Okay.
more to say. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Basically, I've been to 500 conferences in the last 23 years, and my team probably at 1,500 conferences. And if you could be a fly on the wall, listening to what people say when they got out of the sauna, you would buy a Relax Sauna in a heartbeat. It's got a 30-minute, I mean, not 30 minutes, it's got a 30-day money back guarantee, not 30 minutes. And one guy had sciatica pain so bad for 6.5 weeks, pain 7, 8. He got in the sauna,
Mhm.
spent 15 minutes in there. He let himself sweat. It was all gone. He just jumping up and down. Said, if I was a multimillionaire, I'd buy this for every old age home in the country.
Oh, that's amazing.
We had people with elbow pain for a year go take the sauna up to their room at an autism conference, and all the pain's gone. And her partner is a well-known medical doctor who has access to all the energy medicine device machines out there. You've got red light, you got near infrared lasers, you have PEMF, you have microcurrent technology, you have Rife machines, ozone, hyperbaric. We will make all those work better, because of all the devices, the Relax Sauna is the one that vibrates your water molecules, increases your body temperature, and gets rid of the toxins. Hippocrates said, find me a way to create fever and sweat, and I will cure any disease, any disease.
Yeah, I heard that. And this is definitely landing and hitting different. So I love that. Thank you.
And so what we have here is we have one of the finest. I mean, we believe that Dr. Chang and the team of scientists that created the Relax Sauna semiconductor chip and radiator, we believe they deserve the Nobel Prize. And it's exciting to be able to offer such an incredible tool. Now, the 20-minute sweat you could do in the Relax Sauna. You put a towel on the chair like the one behind me and a draped towel over it. There's a bath towel folded on the chair, and then another draped towel. All the sweat goes on those two towels, and you turn the switch on. It's a timer. It's the heat is programmed into the computer. It's not the heat on the outside that has anything to do with the therapy. The Mayo Clinic actually recommends far infrared saunas for all their heart patients since 2004, and says their heart patients should not use a hot tub or a wooden finish sauna, because that makes the heart race. And the relaxed sauna, because it increases the body temperature, which is the key for healing. Because when you increase the body temperature, you lower blood pressure, you increase circulation, you oxygenate the body, activate the parasympathetic, and then you feel revitalized because your energy producing cells, the mitochondria, creates energy. So people get out of the relaxed sauna and say, I don't understand it. I feel super relaxed and I feel revitalized at the same time. Other saunas do not do this. And that's because when you go into the divine in the moment and get connected with who and what you are, then true spiritual energy comes out and revitalizes you instead of that stimulant, caffeine, nervous energy.
Totally.
And
Amazing.
so, these are some of the things that are special. And, listen to the 1,000 testimonies on YouTube. Go to the Relax Sauna site, get one for yourself, and you'll be blessed for 1,000 times. But this is just, part of my mission, my true mission. Like someone told me a long time ago, like in 1984, she said, "Oh my gosh, you're a sage masquerading as a merchant."
I love it.
And so, this is what I've been doing. I just pretend I'm a merchant, but when the right person comes along, there's nothing I love more than sharing the insights that have made me more free. And when the more free you are, the more loving you can be, and the more you can receive love. And it's all about freedom and love, and like reason comes after the fact. When you get nudged to do something, eventually you learn just to listen and do it. And later on, you'll be told why you needed to do it. You do not need to know why first.
Exactly. I think that's important.
This, like of all the things in life, I think the most important thing is absolute reliance on your inner guidance. And for anyone who's into Jesus, that's what they say. It's like we all have inner guidance, no matter what religion or spirituality or whatever you do. We listen to our heart, and then we uncover the thousands of lies that we've bought, either unconsciously or consciously. And the more lies, belief, BELIEF. Every belief is a lie because they're
Yeah.
temporary. They're not permanent. Every belief is a half truth, a half lie. I don't believe in belief. There's nothing I believe, and there's nothing I'm not willing to believe. It's like if it serves you, you use it for a couple hours, like renting a car, and then when it no longer serves you, you turn it back in.
I love it. It's fantastic.
This has been fun. I trust it's been fun for you.
Oh my gosh. I haven't had a conversation like this in a while where I had like so many downloads and so many things to go back and listen to. So thank you so much. And I'm just so excited to see what else we can co-create together because I definitely feel like there might be something there.
Remember the discount code FALLON, axsaunas.com, and they'll get at checkout, they'll get $100 off.
Yay. Amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for listening. We love you and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Yeah, we'll have part 2, won't we?
Absolutely. We definitely need a part 2.
Okay. Thanks, Fallon.
Bye, everyone.